Welcome, everyone, to the 2025 Open Group Stage Reveal stream. I'm Brad Masta. I'm here with Atomic, and we've got a lot of great information and a great set list here to reveal to you all today. So before we get into it, we just want to remind everybody that you need to submit your scores to the Google form that we have provided, otherwise you will not qualify. Atomic, you want to introduce yourself and go a little further into that?
Of course. Thank you, Brad. As Brad said, I'm Atomic. I've been around the tournament scene for quite a while now. Good to be with you, Brad, as always. But yeah, to go off of what Brad just said about submitting Google Form submissions for the Open tournament, again, that will be due, like, the deadline for that is March 15th. And more importantly, to anyone that's submitting scores in the score posting channel in the Discord, that does not count as a submission. You have to submit through the Google Form. So just a kind reminder, we're halfway through the qualifying process. Please submit it through the Google Form. Mm-hmm.
And there we have it. Our very own broadcast has the link there for you. So again, make sure that you do that. We have some new information that we want to share with you all. This is really exciting. So everyone, I believe, who has been following would be aware that our pool size was already pretty decently sized, but Atomic, if you'd like to go into some further detail of where we're at now, that would be awesome.
Yes. So originally, from the beginning of this tournament, we had a prize pool for this tournament that was set at 500 pounds, courtesy of internal funds from CSC at large. Now, that prize pool has been up to 600 pounds thanks to the man, I believe, on my left, Brad Masta. Brad has put up an extra 100 pounds into the prize pool. So thanks, Brad, for that. Very kind of you. But there's even more information about this. In addition to prize pool money, courtesy of Cracked, we are awarding a doohickey controller to first place of this tournament. Absolutely wild. Thanks to Cracked for that. Amazing company, amazing people. And in addition to that, courtesy of Terpy Customs, a custom guitar modding kit will be awarded to second place of this tournament. So you make it to grand finals, you're guaranteed one of two controllers. So thanks to Terpy Customs for that.
Yeah,
it just keeps getting more insane, Brad. It just keeps getting crazier.
You're absolutely correct. This is insane, crazy prize pool. And to break it down a little further, for first place you will get 350 pounds. Second place will be 175, and third place will get 75. So if you happen to get third, you're still walking away with some prize money on top of course, first getting the doohickey, and then second getting the modding kit. So we are super excited for that. Now,
absolutely,
with that information revealed, we're not going to hold it off for any longer. We're going to jump into our group stage set list reveal. But before we do that, I just want to say a few words.
Go ahead.
We on staff and the chart selection committee want to thank all the past and present staff members who have put in time, dedication, and work to compiling and creating, playtesting all the set lists that you all have seen throughout the years, be it Invitational, Open, Elite League. We truly are standing on the shoulders of giants for all the effort that has been put in all this time. With that said, we, for this chart selection committee, have worked extremely hard ourselves to put together a set list that we are very excited for. And me personally, my own opinion here, this is my favorite group stage set list. So ultimately, you all will be the judge of how this set list is received, but we're really excited, and we hope you share that enthusiasm. So with that said, Atomic.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
What is our first song?
Well, actually, before we go into that, Brad, yes. I do want to elaborate on one point that we started last season in Open 4,
yes.
Which is all of these songs were picked from a specific group of people in a chart selection committee. What this means is, and what we've entailed for the chart selection committee, is anyone who's part of it cannot participate in the Open, which means all of these charts are picked with the community in mind always. There is no pick bias any one way or the other for any individual participants. It is completely isolated from tournament play. It is specifically for everyone else. So, with that out of the way, I believe we can jump into the set list, yeah?
I believe we can, Atomic. I am, again, very excited to showcase this to you all. And while Atomic and I will be playing, our very own broadcast is going to go over a little bit of information about justification for each of these picks.
Yes,
so let's go ahead and go into it.
All of the justifications were written by RandomDays, who is a fellow staff member and was also very pivotal this season for groups. So I think if anybody were to write a justification, it would be Random. So very happy to be reading that out.
This was a RandomDays sound
Yes,
effect.
thank you, RandomDays.
This was a RandomDays sound effect. Hell yeah.
And just real quick, I did need to mention that we got a subscription from Ram the Mess. Thank you so much for that. All proceeds really go help run CSC and these tournaments. So if you really like and support what we're doing here, obviously no obligation to do so, but it's really appreciated if you did.
Absolutely.
And on that point, I will also very quickly mention thank you also to Jeff, Java, and Stickheads. Jeff and Java resubscribed, and Stickheads gifted a tier 1 sub to Asai, actually. So thank you all very much for the support.
We love Asai here.
Always
All right.
appreciated.
Always appreciated.
All right.
All right. I think we're ready.
I think we're good to go. So, as tradition around here, we're going to start off by showing off our solo category songs. There will be 3 songs in this specific part of the set list that all tie toward specific skill sets need for fretting, specifically. So, once we get to the ready screen here, we can begin showing this.
Neither one of us are warmed up, so please be nice.
Yep, we are both going into this pretty dang cold.
Ram is sad that I didn't mention them, so I would also like to say thank you, Ram, for subscribing as well.
Thank you, Ram. All right. We might need broadcast to press and hold green. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So, song 1. I'm just gonna simply state the title and then let Chrome do her thing. We're starting off strong. This is a CSC CS edit of the Pepsi Man Pepsi Jam. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
All right. So first song is Pepsi Man Pepsi Jam. This one was suggested by Miscellany. We did have a different song in this place initially that we were pretty sure was going to make the cut, but as we kept playing through it, it didn't actually meet what we wanted in a solo pick. Miscellany decided to think about possible songs from Gametal Power Pack 2, since some players outside of the tournament community have slowly been working on weeding down various set lists to get FC proofs, this one included.
Absolutely.
So going into this, it's going to start out a little slow. It takes a second to cook, but cook does it. Believe me when I say, by the end of this, your hands will be cooking.
Yes, 100%. As with most of these collaboration projects in online communities, both jazz and metal alike, usually these start very nice, but by the end, you are ripping through solos.
And something that is probably going to be said multiple times, but I will go ahead and say it here. With all of the songs that you see that we'll be showcasing, please sit with it.
Yes.
For any set list that's put forth, it does require some time to get proficient at it.
Always. And that's true for any set list for any tournament, not just CSC. A set list will always look very challenging at first, but you put in the time, you put in the effort, you might surprise yourself with how good you truly are at this stuff.
RandomDays would also like me to say, we're not sponsored by Mountain Dew this year, unfortunately. However, another soda may be making an appearance.
Hey, yo.
Very well played, man. Thank you.
Very well played.
Ask RandomDays for more information on that,
there,
Smile.
That first bit there was a little bit of a warm-up there to get the fingers going. And from this point on, the difficulty does increase a bit.
Yep. So ladder right there.
The skill set we're really testing here is not necessarily an endurance per se. It's really though there's more solo-y bursty stuff that will be coming up. And
Yeah.
for those that are proficient at, say, one-handing, maybe even potentially boomer tapping at this point, you will probably fare fairly well with this card.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just letting it
Yep.
continue.
Letting it build. Sick trombone solo. Have we had a trombone solo in any songs previously? That might be a first.
Giant steps, maybe?
Giant Steps was piano and
Oh.
sax.
Okay.
Oh, look at
There
this.
we go. A little
Look
bit
at
of
that.
cooking there.
Yep.
I do apologize. I'm washed.
Nah, you're not washed. You've been playing console.
That's very true. That is very, very true.
Shoutouts, by the way, to Brad's console grind as of late. Very amazing to see. Shoutouts, Peace in the Harlot.
Oh my goodness.
Shout out Josh404 for the Prime resub.
Thank you,
Thank
Josh.
you, Josh. Lefty Gang.
He found the Prime
right.
button. Let's go.
Let's go.
Can we get some Pepsi Man's chat, please?
Yeah. If there isn't, what are they doing?
Pepsi Man.
We're still ripping through this, by the way. We're only 3/4 of the way through the solo mark.
Oh yeah,
There's still more.
plenty- It's going to be really interesting in match to see how pathing plays a role in this, because there are multiple places where the skill set is certainly being tested. Who put strums in my soul?
They're thrumming in my solo song.
Yeah, multiple avenues in soloing will be tested, but as always, pathing does play an important part. So we could see instances where people are potentially struggling, players are potentially struggling with some parts, but are proficient in others and adjust their path accordingly.
Exactly. Thank.
Oh, that's perfect. Absolutely beautiful.
We need that this season.
So that is our first song.
That is Pepsi Man. Of course, kind of to build off of what Brad was saying, of course, as we stressed with the pathing workshop, if you're able to, and of course willing to, please, please, please learn your paths. But specifically with this song, as Brad was saying, with certain skill sets being good at one section of the song as opposed to another, learning the path is good, but learning how to activate where you know you're going to keep your combo, that's even better. So, if you have to adjust your path for some safety points for you, it's a smart move.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have not watched the pathing workshop, please be sure to do so. If you happen to join our Discord server, which if you're not in there, we highly encourage you to join, you can find the link to that in there. And there it is, right on cue. All right,
Absolutely.
our next song. This-
Brad, if you will.
Yeah, what the next song is going to be Fly High, Ride Low by Conrad Simon.
Alrighty. Let's do this.
Alright, yeah, so we got Fly High, Ride Low by Conrad Simon here. This one was suggested by RandomDays. They had initially scrolled past this song many times while looking through CTH3, which is stands for Carpal Tunnel Hero 3, for those who don't know, for some good solo picks. They brushed this off initially because they saw it was a 6 difficulty chem final chart, and they thought it might be too hard for groups. But after looking at this chart, he was completely blown away and locked it in almost immediately. 3UP had also hinted that they had wanted to use this for their own tournament, so score 1 for CSC. Sorry.
Shout out Duke. Shout out Duke.
Shout out Dude, for real. Decked out open tournament. Fantastic tournament run by 3UP. Was really great for the first season. Can't wait to see the second season.
Oh, absolutely. 3UP did a wonderful job running that tournament. And the skill set that we're testing here is your fretting endurance. You'll see that, comparatively speaking, the fretting speed required is nothing super crazy, but your hands are constantly moving. So if you're someone who may not necessarily possess the speed required for, say, Pepsi Man, but you can fret for a longer period of time, this might be something that you'll be honing in on for matches to come.
Also,
Absolutely.
casters say, hello, Gabe.
Hello,
Gabe's in chat.
Gabe!
Gabe!
Sounds Gabe. We wouldn't be here without Gabe from,
literally,
2021.
Gabe is
Even
the
before.
reason. Gabe is the reason that we are here. Everybody, if you can, please send a heart toward Gabe's direction. They truly are the reason that we are having the 2025 Open, with all the other opens and tournaments that have been ran previously. They are well and truly for the competitive side of CSC, the heart and soul, and one of the biggest reasons that we're doing what we're doing. We want to make Gabe proud, and yeah, absolutely love to see Gabe proud. So yeah, hearts and chat for them.
Also,
And
very
as-
quick again, shout out Stickheads for gifting another tier 1 sub to Gabe, and then shout out to Amamic for resubscribing.
Yo,
Let's
shout out
go.
to my mom!
I gotta say, for the most supportive parents in the CSC scene, right there, Amamic has been here, I believe, every year at least some point in time.
I know what I've got. Love you, Mom.
So as you have seen with this chart, there was a little bit faster section there, but again, the skill set that we're looking to test here is your endurance. Can you keep going? And as I've said with the last song, and I will say it again, sit with the charts. Do not let them overwhelm you if it's not something that you're amazing with at first. The tournament boost, skill set boost is real. You can ask literally anybody who has participated. It well and truly, it's a real
Bro, I would not be here if it weren't for all those skill boosts, truthfully. It's so real. But yeah, for reference, that solo marker just ended. It took until now for that solo marker to run. And we're right into another one. Like, again, this song does not stop.
does not relent.
We are getting kind of near the end, though.
Yeah, it's the fretting speed for this is really great for testing this skill set. It's nothing super fast. It's not going to necessarily wear you out super quickly. Got an air from Atomic, wonderful job. Yeah, it's a pretty fun chart overall.
It's really fun. It is going to push your fretting hand, though. So
Absolutely. That's a really good
Right.
point. Yeah, so you gotta keep in mind that we don't have any elite league players in this tournament. So
Yep.
we did kind of scale back the difficulty a little bit to take that into account. For last season, we didn't have elite league, so we had to kind of vary out the skill for the selections that were made to account for that higher end skill participating in this. Now, it's not to say we don't have elite league caliber players who will be participating, because obviously the
we do.
it will be moving on. But for the overall player pool, we did reel it back a little bit compared to what we had in the previous season. So just wanted to make that clear.
Yes, that's not to say that playoffs, will be incredibly easy, of course. It'll still be difficult. Just don't have to cover those, like, upper 16 Elite League players that we have in this tournament as well. So we'll be able to accommodate more and more people. It'll be less than Open 4. Just know that.
Yes. All right.
All right. Well,
Alec?
our last song in the solo category that we have is Sulfur Dioxide Form, the CSC edit of it, at 115% speed. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Ooh, boy is right. Let's go.
All right. Suggested by RandomDays once again. No true solo tech gimmick this time around, unfortunately, for those who were looking forward to it. Rennie. Random Days had found one that they thought was sufficient for groups, but was deemed a little too hard. So possibly for playoffs, maybe. But in the meantime, you get the obligatory Raspberry tournament chart. Also, the reason we didn't force all taps, like force people to pick all taps as the modifier is, even though we do have that, we hesitated on doing so since so many people are joining the tournament. We just want to make sure that the set list is sort of as easy to pick and go as possible.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't obvious already, this song moves around a lot. Quads there, some straight line tap notes there, but more importantly for me are these bits of chording here in between the madness.
Yes.
Being able to move from sweeping motions like this into a specific chord is a skill in its own right. Very challenging.
Absolutely. Yeah, the skill set really being tested here is stuff that you'll see a little bit of stuff from the previous two songs that were played, you know, some little bursty stuff that requires a little bit of a speed up, and then your hands are going to be moving on certain parts, but it's that tech for tap notes and chord changes. As Atomic said, you transition from that into chording as needed. It's a skill set that is not seen too often in tournament play. Typically, you'll see maybe a chart or two of it, so it is really nice to see something like this showcased in a set list.
Absolutely. Yeah, the ability to go from your hands moving really, really fast to suddenly not at all. Not easy.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of you see it's not necessarily in tournament, but just in general play, that you know, to be able to slow yourself down and hit things accurately, if at all possible, is something that can be difficult. It can take some time. Having that control over your hands to be able to hit some of these things is really important, and that's one of the things we are testing with this chart.
Of course. Yeah, speed is one thing. This is speed and control. So, beyond the game. That's very tricky right there, that ladder down.
Depending on your skill set, that might be the hardest part of the chart.
It could. Very well. Alright. As we approach a reprise of the beginning, we're nearing the end of the song.
This is going to be another song that I think the pathing aspect is going to be really interesting, because there are some parts that some players may want to move it around or will be more proficient at. I think it's going to be really interesting. Going to be really interesting.
I believe that's true.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So shoutouts to Pepsi Man having the only vocals in our solo category. But yeah.
Atomic is absolutely cooking with the FCs here.
This is more of just my skill set here, specifically this song, so that's cool.
Oh, don't be modest, don't be modest. You're absolutely cooking. There's a reason you're in Elite League. All I'm saying.
That's true, but now we get to a lot of people's honestly weaker skill set at large, strumming.
Yes, we'll have 3 strumming songs coming for you, and the next one is Evolve/Become at 115 by Sacred Mother Tongue.
Let's do this thing. All right.
You have to unmute yourself to be able to be heard on stream, it turns out. Alright, so Evolve Become. This was suggested by both Random Days and the Broad List, a Google spreadsheet song pool that committee members have access to that lists out a huge selection of potential charts. The Broad List originally noted this song was recommended at either 110 or 115% speed. I had originally shown Atomic, I being Random Days, had originally shown Atomic 110% speed, and both of them felt it was good enough. But when Brad play tested it and said it was too slow, they tried 115% speed, and it was like a switch flipped. It was absolutely incredible seeing the difference 5% makes. And I'm sure this is the only time that we'll see that throughout the whole set list.
Yeah,
That is very true.
The difference between 110 and 115, we felt that it really leaned into the skill set we're looking to test here. It really is a throwback to the Rip Titans at 110, testing a very similar open note, sort of strumming, stop and go sort of stuff, that if you really lean into that, this will be the song for you in tournament.
Absolutely. While this is a Strum Pick, don't be fooled. Your fretting hand is still very involved.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all about the coordination. Even those extended sustains are tricky because of the strums within them.
And this is going to be interesting to see if we have people who are really good at reset strumming, or perhaps there won't be any reset strumming through those gallop sections.
What is this? A solo?
And this was
my
actually
Strum song.
the point of contention when we were determining whether this would be good. We were worried that this part coming up might be too hard. And then after we got through it, we were like, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
At all. Alright, Gabe. we truly cannot rival to Open 1, can we?
Oh, goodness. Open 1, syncretic steps. Or synchronal steps, excuse me.
Synchronal.
Yeah.
Me when I get the
Syncretic
song
stuff.
title wrong.
Synchronal delirium. Just keep mixing them.
Hello, Random Days here. I thought I'd interject real quick. The specific attribution on the broad list was that this was suggested originally by Haggis, former CSC staff member.
I see. Yeah.
So there you have it.
Very fun song. Go on.
Yeah, it's something that you may need to sit with. I know I'll just do a callback to myself when I was playing the Grip Titans. Banger of a song, but definitely took a little time to get down to the point where I felt tournament ready. So again, sit with the song. I think it's something that a lot of people will have a lot of fun with. My personal opinion, but I do think this is going to be a fun one for people.
Yep. Can't stress that enough. Don't be discouraged by any of this. Whether you on, whether you strum like I do, find what feels best for you. You got it.
Now this next one.
Now this. Oh, buddy.
Can you say
Yeah.
controversial?
If you remember Esoteric Surgery, if I'm
Open
Jake,
two.
I'm not even thinking of type song.
Yep. Yep. Shout out to Jake.
This will
Shout out,
definitely
Jake.
look. It'll definitely bring back some memories here. So the song "On Stirring Seas of Salted Blood" by the Black Dahlia Murder.
ESC CS added, of course. This will bring back some memories.
All right. On Stirring Seas of Salted Blood, Black Dahlia Murder. Once again, suggested by Random Days. Strumming a time, baby. We all felt that Saturnine was too easy from the last group stage, so we found a harder one. This one especially fits since our goal with this year's setlist curation was to mimic Open 2's group stage as much as possible while still having our own distinct flavor and fine-tuning of difficulty. The reason being that setlist in particular is the last time an Open was held where there were players ineligible due to participating in the Elite League. Also, this is probably where Brad notes that he prefers Open 1's group setlist more, and as a personal aside from Random Days, you're incorrect thumbs up emoji.
Classic Random.
So the reason that I bring up Esoteric is this song is slow in the strum speed required, but it goes on for longer So it really is testing your endurance. And right now, you're probably thinking, okay, you know, we got a little bit of some recording.
A little bit of a break. Yeah.
Oh, just wait.
Just hang on.
Yeah, just hang on.
Yeah.
Let it cook.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through the song.
Yep.
And as with most of these songs,
Oh, fun. Hello, chat. I missed you.
well then. As with most of these actual, you know, stamina-esque songs, you get one of two types of the song. Either the strumming presents itself from the beginning, and you're just stuck there, or like this song, it shows a little bit of what the strumming's gonna be like. There's a break, and now you're in for the long.
Yep. Exactly. We reach a point, and I believe we're in it now.
We are 100% in it.
It just goes.
It doesn't
So,
stop.
I would highly recommend for anybody who does not have their strumming endurance quite up to par, really lean into this one.
And then these pauses after strumming for that one,
War
not as
Squids,
easy
my
as you think.
beloved.
Absolutely.
Seriously. Again, shout out Open 2. Right.
Yeah, this one, I think for me personally, I absolutely love this song pick. I think
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is leaning in to that endurance that we're just looking to test.
Absolutely. It does its job very, very well.
Oh, do you
And
think
we're back
we're
in.
done? Oh no! You thought we were done? Oh no!
No,
Absolutely
of course we're not. Of course we're not. You see how much Saunders left? Not a chance. Also, if I can tie back to the pathing workshop that happened recently, if you get really good with pathing and activation points, this song screams squeeze in a note.
Oh, absolutely. And we got a nice.
And
little
as we
fade
slowly
out there.
fade out, there we go. And Brad with an FC. Very well done, Brad.
Thank you. This is for me. It's at just the right speed. I love the sort of endurance type testing that's required. So yeah, definitely something that's it's going to be interesting to see how players react to this one. If you're a strummer and you have some endurance, you're going to love this one. You're
Yeah.
absolutely going to love it.
Absolutely.
All
Can I
right.
announce what the
Um,
next song is?
Oh,
You
absolutely.
can. Absolutely.
I wonder
Take
why
it.
I'm announcing this next one.
Hmm.
So, our third Strum song in the category is going to be Algorithmic Salvation by the Zenith Passage. Charted by me. Also suggested by me. No surprise there.
So,
Okay.
Carl, if you could reread the text from before.
Ah, yes, let me go ahead and reread what we had. So, well, let me make sure that the thing isn't, there we go. Okay, so, Algorithmic Salvation by the Zenith Passage. This was suggested by me. This was also charted by me. RandomDays had made remarks in regards to creating the qualifier that we didn't want to make it an S tier qualifier that we thought that everybody thought was like really, really, really good. We just wanted it to be a little less than that. And this was the song that had sparked that thought. We were initially going to include this in the qualifier, but we took a step back and we're like, no, this should be in groups. This is much better fitted for groups. Also, if the Peanuts Zassage had been mentioned up to this point, which do we count the other mention of it? I think we can count the other mention of it. Take a drink of water. We're gonna count it.
Stay hydrated. Again.
Stay hydrated.
Yes.
YouTube viewers do not understand what's happening right now with that.
So, as stated before, what is being tested here, as you can see, you've got some stop and go strumming. You've got a little bit of alt strumming through here. I mean, you could down strum it all, but it might be a little difficult. You've got some porting, some slowing down, some speeding up.
Fixing the sustains.
A lot of
opens there.
Yeah, a lot of technical stuff being tested.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes it's groups of 3s, sometimes it's groups of 2.
And you'll notice that we're already halfway through. So not super long, but
Yeah.
very dense, definitely testing a lot. If tech strum is your skill set, this is something that I suspect you will be picking quite often.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I can't see directly, but in the corner of my eye, do I see copy pastas?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yep, see
I'm
that?
so happy. Oh, really?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, yo.
Chat.
Chat being
Oh.
chat as always. Okay. Well,
We do love
I
rain
appreciate that.
on our CSC streams. We do love rain power.
I will always appreciate a brain power copy pasta.
Indeed.
Alright, we're getting near the end of the song here.
Yes, and again, lots of stop and go, and it's something that if you're not proficient in the skill set, when you lean into it, it's something that just might click with you.
Absolutely.
And the song just goes absolutely hard. Completely.
Yeah, this, I mean, as stated before, this was considered to be in the qualifier. This, we felt this deserved more than just the qualifier.
Absolutely.
And much like one of the songs in the qualifier, hold on. Shoutouts to Zero Gravity 3D. Absolutely.
Score differential
Okay.
there, but close and notes missed. Yes, that was our last strum song. So we've had 3 solos, 3 strums, and now, for those familiar with the formats, and for those that aren't, we are going into our hybrid songs. Now, these are songs that test both your fretting and strumming, and there might be some leaning one way or the other, but you will see that they are certainly hybrids, at least in our opinion. That's the way we constructed them. So, with
Absolutely.
that said,
Well,
go ahead, Atomic.
if I may, actually, because it's this song specifically, Random Days, if you're still around in the VC, it might be of best interest that you actually announce this next song.
I agree.
Okay, ever since I got brought onto staff, I have had like a very short list of songs that if like I don't see in a tournament at some point, I will actually throw a bit of a small fit. Now, I'm a mature grown adult. I can give my concessions, but I will do a lot in my power to make sure that these songs
We're good.
okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah, so
We're
I'll
good.
do basically everything in my power to make sure that these songs actually get in. And up next, we have a CTH3 classic sped up to 110% speed. We have Blue Bossa by Jimmy Rosenberg.
Alrighty.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh no.
money.
Indeed.
Alright.
Yeah.
And Chrome, if you'd like to read
So the first half of this note is literally just what Random Days said. They've been quoted as saying at several points throughout the selection process, "I will gladly give up my other selections and let other people put in their own pet choice if you let me put in Blue Bossa." The only other thing to note is we were going to edit the skill check section that comes up a little later, you'll see. But we were already pushing the limit on how many CSC edits we had in the set list, so we left it in. Good luck.
Simply put.
Smile.
Yep.
Indeed.
Also,
There's a
Random
second-
Days mentions or notes this song was stuck in their head for a while, and they could not tell anybody who was competing what song was stuck in their head.
This is true.
So there is a part coming up that is going to be definitely a strum fret lifting skill check.
Mhm.
And we'll just let it cook to get there. But even with that in mind, there's certainly some fretting stuff that you'll have to account for, but still nothing too terribly fast.
Absolutely.
There's
I'm kind of
definitely
just vibing to the song.
fair.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
just vibing.
it is a very good song to vibe to. There's some throwbacks with sound and play to like some Django Tiger, Paganini, for anybody who remembers that.
Yep.
Yeah, this definitely reminds me of Paganini for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a fun one to play.
Here we go.
Yep. Yeah, that right there.
Good luck with that.
It
Smile.
It may take some time to get that one down for those that are not familiar with charts that have that as an ask when you play it. But
Yeah.
again, as with anything, sit with it.
Hey, in tournament, if someone pulls an FC in this song, you've so earned it at this point.
Absolutely.
You get through that, then you're really proving yourself.
Oh yeah, as far as individual sections thus far that we've seen,
Mhm.
that is certainly the hardest I believe that we've showcased.
I 100% agree. So far,
I
yeah.
third that.
we're just chilling here for a minute.
There were some talks about this potentially being more like a solo-esque pick, but we believe that there's enough strumming in here to justify it being a hybrid.
Yeah. %.
We'll let it ride out here into the sunset.
Absolutely.
But for us, not for you, because you'll be playing it quite a bit.
Yeah. Very fun, very awesome to listen to. Listening wise, it's really funny charts like this, because listening wise, it's very relaxed feeling if you're not playing the chart. If you're playing the chart, it is a completely different, highly contrasting feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
This one again, a lot of fun. It's something that I'm really excited to see how this will play out in tournament matches. So, Atomic, would you like
Absolutely.
to introduce our next song here?
yes, so like Brad was saying during, while we were playing the song, Blue Bossa could have been considered as a solo song, but there are enough strumming elements that we considered it a hybrid song. But more specifically, we considered this song a hybrid solo leaning pick. It's still a hybrid, but there are more solo elements than strum. This is the alternative of that. This is a hybrid song, but it's strum leaning. So there's some solo aspects still sprinkled in through enough to call it a hybrid, but it primarily focuses on strumming. And the song in question, a throwback to Open 1, Echelons to Molotovs by the Human Abstract. Alrighty.
Echelons to Molotovs. Suggested by Random Days. Once again, there's a bit of a theme here. Another song that almost made the qualifier, but in reality we felt it was too good of a chart to just use in a qualifier and then never bring up again. So we made it a group stage song.
For anybody that remembers Open 1, some of us old heads here, that was an absolute banger, well received back in that set list, and it is really refreshing to see this band make an appearance again in an open set list.
Absolutely.
No, you're so right. So you might notice there's a couple jump scare trills in here. It's fine. Most people should be fine with it. However, Geo, I know you're in chat. Have fun.
For anyone who doesn't know, actually, no, this part's actually pretty difficult. Geo, renowned player, amazing tournament player, a machine for full albums. Cannot do trills easily at all. Just not a thing for his Freddy.
The Trill villain arc has began for our resident Geo.
Absolutely. Unintentionally. And in this part right here.
Oh, absolutely. As you've seen, there's definitely more strumming leaning, with a little bit of bursty fretting in there. Nothing super crazy, but it's definitely going to test some proficiencies and multiple different areas. That's what makes it a hybrid. So as you saw there, you'll need a little bit of strumming control along with fretting, some stop and go here.
Yep.
And
but the whole time, again, the reason why it's in a hybrid category, there was that solo section back there that just happened, but while you're still strumming through all this, you're still constantly moving your fretting.
oh, absolutely.
It is not easy. Not for you.
Yeah, this is something where nerves are going to potentially play a big part, because with the tournament nerves in play, it could potentially be harder to keep control during some of these sections throughout here.
Yes. And again, we're almost done with the song. It's not a terribly long song, but it keeps you going the whole time. Absolutely.
Exactly. A lot of fun stuff in there, stuff to really get you kind of leaning into it. Nice FC. Very good work there.
Thank you. Of course. Yeah, very good FC here, but Brad, if you will, the next song goes a different direction.
This is likely the most hybrid of hybrid picks that we have in the set list. In my opinion here, it's something that it's all over with what's being tested, and it's an artist that we have had in opens previously. We have I Just Got This Symphony Going at 105% speed by The Fall of Troy.
Absolutely.
Fall of Troy, another Open 2 callback, actually, because the Vomiting Winter was in Open 2. Among other things, among other places that the Fall of Troy has been used. But this one was suggested by 3UP. This was originally going to be at a faster speed, and at that faster speed, it was deemed a little bit too much for groups, but we bumped it down to 105. And despite 105 being a little non-standard, we haven't used 105% very much, but we think that this works really, really well for this set list. And as far as we're aware, the only other time that we've ever done a 105% speed up in a CSC set list was Miasma by the Black Dahlia Murder from Elite League Season 2.
I believe that is correct. And
Sounds
there's
right.
one part in particular, it being the reason that we dropped the speed down. It did make sense after we dropped it down for the rest of it, but there is one section in particular coming later that is the main reason why we felt we needed to drop it down just ever so slightly.
Yes, and good point, and I'm back again, unannounced, that's fine. I would like to say thank you to JP, aka 760 Creations, for letting us use the Fall of Troy Plus version of the chart.
True, shout out JP.
Absolutely.
As you can see, there's a lot of stuff being tested here. You're moving your fingers around, random strums throughout, some speed ups, some slow downs. Really a well here.
Of note for me, specifically, we haven't really seen this much in the other songs so far. There's not many here, but there are what I'm calling buried strums. Those being strum notes behind a hopo of the same fret. So you can't just get on a fret and immediately strum. You gotta wait a little, like that green note there.
That's a really good point. That is something that we don't see a ton of.
At least not yet.
The ability to be able to adjust for that on the fly is very important.
Yes. I know we've reached a little bit of a switch up here.
So
All right.
we're reaching the point in the song where things are going to build up a little bit here. Get a chance to build up your SP. I am not familiar with the path, but this here is why we had to drop the speed a little bit.
Good luck with that.
Yep. Yeah. Literally every increment of 5% on that strumming changes it dramatically.
Yep.
And side note, just as we've been going through this, I am appreciating how much I keep saying good luck with that, because I think that's going to make for a really interesting group set list to have a bunch of different good luck with that sections in these songs. I think it's I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, similar to a Vomiting Winter. As you saw, there was an SP there that kind of ended a little awkward. That SP could make or break this song if it's really close. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out as well in matches.
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty much everything here is missable if you're not fully locked in.
100%.
Everything. Like strumming changes here, going from triplets to even eights, quarter notes even.
And that's just kind of what Follow Troy does.
Yep.
A lot of change-ups.
It's what they're known for. Yeah, not easy. I may have just gotten that FC, but it changes everywhere.
Keep in mind,
you got to be locked in.
Atomic is an Elite League level player,
This is true.
It's not too surprising that we see this sort of performance from Atomic right out the fly. But
Of
yes,
course.
yeah, that's another, again, truly believe this is the most hybrid of the hybrid, in my opinion. But we still have one more.
We still have one more song. Like Brad just said, when we picked the song, we listed it as I was mentioning earlier, there was like solo leaning hybrid and strum leaning hybrid. This song that we just played, we just labeled as hybrid. Like, this is just a perfect mix of both. However, this next song, I could be wrong. On the list that we made, I'm pretty sure we listed this next song as a hybrid gimmick song. This is
Pointing
because
terms here, are we?
We are. This is because this is a hybrid song, truly hybrid. There's a lot of soloing, there's a lot of strumming, but it's done in a sort of unconventional way from what you just saw. The song in question here is Final Boss 2 by Taeyeon, as I call it. Taeyeon. Regardless.
Yeah, regardless, this was suggested by Atomic. This was one of the last slots that we actually ended up filling. We had initially Atomic had suggested a solo song to be used, but we ended up feeling that chart did not quite meet our criteria, and so we had Atomic try and look for a hybrimic chart, just so that he was also represented with the pick as well. And this worked out especially nicely because this slot, because Atomic loves gimmick charts, and so it was kind of perfect to have him pick out a gimmick chart. After having dug through other suggestions that were either less well-paced than this or were too difficult, we figured that this was easily the best out of the remaining suggestions that we had. And so here you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in love with this pick. I really think for where we have it, we're testing all the right things.
Absolutely.
You got a nice mix of some fretting in there, some alternative strumming, if you will, alt strumming. Some more of that fretting that Atomic had mentioned, where you have hopos and strumming in between. Just checks a lot of boxes.
Yep. Notice how throughout the song, the style of play is constantly changing. Like back there, we were alternating between all hopos to all strums. Then it was natural forced, strums and hopos. Then it was sort of inverted, where hopos came before strums. And now what we just did there, that section that we just played all taps on, it is now all strums.
Yep. Again, testing multiple different skill sets, which is what you would expect out of a hybrid pick.
Yeah. Specifically for me, this song tests your knowledge with note logic. When you see a note change to a different type of note, when you see a section become something different, do you know how to apply what you know on the fly?
I would also like to say,
100%.
Random Days points out in chat, this song has the exact same path from 0% to 75%, but the 100% path is completely different.
Very crucial info right there. Yeah. If you're new to pathing and you're starting on low percents, it scales up pretty nicely for you. But if you're like Geo, who I know is still in the chat, and just goes for like, I'm not gonna say 100, paths, but percents that are very high.
99.99
You're gonna
smile.
benefit. Exactly.
And remember, if you're not super versed in pathing, you do not have to go for the highest thing and try to execute that. In a lot of cases in tournament play, depending on where you're at, you can get away with a 0 or 25% path and you'll be perfectly fine. Certainly experiment if you're feeling it, but it's not a requirement. And look at that score difference. If this were a tournament match,
Yeah, look at that.
holy moly.
I didn't even register that. That's like 50 points.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Very
Already-
nice.
Already starting off handshake. Atomic, I'm
Yep.
not sure what side of the screen you're on.
Let me think about this. You're on the left, so
That
I
is
gotta
a
go right.
52-point score difference for anyone who is counting at home.
Yeah.
All right, so that concludes the main part of the set list, but of course, you know that there are 3 more songs. We have our solo tiebreaker, our strum tiebreaker, and our hybrid tiebreaker still to showcase. Now, this next one that we're going to play is the solo tiebreaker. This is one that has probably been thrown around as a suggestion for probably a little while, but has not seen the light of day when it comes to tournament play, at least that I'm not aware of. It's something that is going to test your soloing, your endurance. It's definitely overall harder than any of the other solo picks, which is what you would expect out of the tiebreaker. And one of my favorites to just play. This is the Necrophagus solo medley by Necrophagus.
Fittingly.
Wow, I can't believe
Go ahead,
Necrophagus
Kroll,
made their
because
own solo medley. This was
They're just that good.
This was technically suggested by Random Days. But the only thing stopping us from instantly locking this in was Brad gave the good point that we should at least play through the chart and give it a... do our due diligence, give the chart a quick playthrough just to make sure that this fits. This genuinely might have been the quickest lock for a pick in CSC chart pulling history. And I'm comfortable enough saying that on stream, because genuinely, like, it was seconds, if that. It was a very quick lock.
Speaking from within the chart selection committee actual group chat, I can back that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't. It's impossible to say if it truly was the quickest lock. That's impossible to know. But in
Only
terms
because
of the set list,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the open one mocks and everything, but it feels like it was probably was.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say if not the quickest pick that has been done for chart selection. It checks all the boxes that we were looking for. It's going to test multiple facets of your soloing ability, not just the endurance to get through the whole song, but can
patterns
up with the patterns. And there's a few other things, one notable later on, that will test one skill set for a brief period of time.
Misconfirming that it's the fastest because they've been in every committee except Invitational 1.
Okay, fair.
There you go.
There you go. Yep, jump scare right there. Yeah, can't stress that enough. Everyone on the committee, when they saw this, just went, yes, this is happening.
And I joined a little bit later. I'm kind of a late, re-addition to staff and the chart selection committee. And when I saw that this was something that was heavily considered to be on the set list or was basically a lock, I was so excited to see it. And playtesting it really just confirmed that for me, that this should belong here.
Absolutely. And it complements the solo songs we have very well. What is this strumming song? What is this strumming in my solo tiebreak?
And this is a chart, that is going to be something that I would recommend you do learn to path. I know tiebreakers aren't something that people do path, but because you have a lot of consistency throughout this one, where the fretting speed is fairly consistent, it could be very important for you to have a path ready and made and memorize, or whatever you would do to get that down. This might end up being something where pathing would determine the winner.
Absolutely. We've seen time and time again. This is a general statement for every tiebreak in existence, not even just the set list, right? Learn your paths for tiebreaks. Even if you don't think you're going to go to tiebreak ever, like me from previous seasons, who should have learned tiebreak paths but just never did. This is me telling you, learn the paths.
A little bit of history lesson back in Open 1. Atomic went to back-to-back tiebreakers against Tech Boy and myself, where Tech Boy and myself had learned the path to Dualis Fumel, and Atomic had not learned the path, but was able to follow along. So in that case, by being able to take advantage of those who had learned the path, Atomic was able to seal the wins in both of those matches.
But you should still have.
Sorry, I do have something to interject and mention real quick. I want to briefly go over how tiebreakers are chosen, because newer players may have a little bit of, they may struggle to understand just because it's a little strange. So the way that the group stage matches are is it's the best of 7. So in the event that you and your opponent go 3-3, we take a look at the number of solo songs and the number of strum songs that were picked. So let's say that you choose all 3 solo songs. You choose 1 strum song and 2 hybrids. You chose more solo songs than you chose strum songs. So therefore, if you go 3-3, you will be playing the strum tiebreaker. The way that it works is it is the least, your least played category is the type of tiebreaker that you play. And if you play the same number of solo songs that you play strum songs, so if you play 2 solos, 2 strums, and 2 hybrids, then you go to the hybrid tiebreaker. So we do have a tiebreaker for all 3 categories.
Yeah, absolutely. And that combination can change for hybrid. For example, if you end up playing all 3 solos and all 3 strums, you would go to the hybrid tiebreaker.
That's correct.
Yeah, the important takeaway there is you play more solos, you go to strum tie. You play more strums, you go to solo tiebreak. Even amounts, you go to hybrid.
Yep.
And we're placing we'll go into this later, but we're going to be placing a larger emphasis on refereeing this season.
Yes.
So the idea will be that you will have a referee that knows what they're doing, so that you don't have to try and figure this out yourself. But as I said, we'll touch on that more near the end of the stream.
Yeah, after we do the full reveal, there's 2 more cards that we have to reveal after this one. There's a few more details that we would like to reveal to you all and go over before we release the set list out to the wild.
Absolutely.
And as you've been able to observe as we play this, the fretting speed, mostly up until really here, has maintained a similar pacing. But again, it's testing, because of its length, it's testing your nerve control, your endurance, potential pathing ability. It's going to be very critical if you make it to this song and a match that has gone 3-3, that you are on your game if it happens to go to this one.
Absolutely. And I can't stress enough the nerve control element of this. Because a thing we've seen time and time again, you can practice tie breaks all you want, right? And it's encouraged to. But when you're in a match and there's actually stuff on the line and you go into tiebreak, nerves are going to spike for both players. And look at that trail right there. So being prepared is always a good thing, but being able to manage your nerve when you're actually in the scenario of a tiebreak, that's also another good skill to showcase.
Oh, 100%. we have seen matches that go to tiebreak where the match was determined at the very end. There are so many that have occurred. There's a few that stand out to me. There was the one in Excuse My Rudeness. I'm trying to remember who the players were. I think it was Trojans and... Was it Trojans and Geo in that match? Where it was a Trojans miss right at the very end of Excuse My Rudeness?
Trojans was the one who missed.
Yep. There was the, I cannot remember the name of the song. The Bunny song.
Ballistic.
Ballistic Bunny that was determined at the very end. And then Joel and myself had one in the Paul Gilbert solo medley that went down through the wire at the very end. Was decided by less than 2k points. And another one that Dean and myself had that was very close up until the very end. So we've seen it time and time again. So nerve control, knowing your paths, if at all possible, does make it can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And as we approach the end of this medley here, again, it's a tiebreak, so it's much longer than a standard pick.
Yep.
To truly test your consistency and your mental power to keep going.
And there it is.
There
That
it
is our
is.
solo tiebreaker.
Absolutely.
Super excited to see that one finally make an appearance. Hoping to potentially see it played in a few matches.
Absolutely. Again, just to reiterate, this solo medley will be played if there are Strum songs that have been picked than solo songs. Just to reiterate that. All right, but now we're going to the flip side of that, where the next song, the Strum Tiebreak, will be played if more solo songs are played than Strum songs. And oh buddy.
Oh, buddy.
Oh buddy.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna go. Fossil genera.
Fossil genera.
Fact checkers genera.
Genera.
A feed from Cloud Mountain, specifically a CSC CS edit by Between the Buried and Me.
Ooh,
Oh
boy.
boy.
Oh buddy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this one was suggested by 3UP. This CSC edit was actually made by 3UP. And essentially what they did is they sped up a bunch of the sections of the song so that the difficulty sort of was standardized throughout the whole thing, so that it didn't just have a bunch of just to make it kind of harder, and so that there weren't a bunch of easy sections for a long song, right? And so RandomDays writes, if I had a nickel for every time 3UP used a song they were going to use for their tourney, I'd have 2 nickels. We needed a song. We were going to have a different Strum Tiebreaker that was deemed too hard, and it turns out there aren't really a lot of Strum Tiebreaker level charts out there. So please chart more 7 to 9 minutes Strum songs. Luckily, this pick ended up turning out great. 3UP came in clutch here.
Yes. Can't stress that enough. Shout to 3UP for this, because you want to talk about a test of skills.
Oh,
This is it.
personally, I find this to be the hardest part in the set list. It's just something that's it's novel.
Yeah. I mean, as Chrome was explaining the chart and what it does and why it's here, I mean, that intro bit with the fast chording there, but specifically the yellow-orange chords with a yellow-blue hopeful chord in the middle.
Yeah, those chords
That
are
is incredibly tricky. You want to talk about technical everything.
100%. Yeah, this is tech strumming to a T. It tests just about everything that you would want in a tech strum chart.
Yeah, look at that. Man.
And it just goes hard.
Also, I gotta say, what a unique edit this is. Really.
Yeah, that's a really
Yes.
good point. Rather than just speeding up the chart as a whole, the approach that was taken is quite incredible.
Yeah. It's something that we saw from 3UP from like a little bit. I wish we could have seen more. But in Mega Bolt 2, shout out to Demand, 3UP made a ton of edits that were as creative as this. It's something that I'm excited to see going forward in various tournaments if people take this new approach to edits.
That's a really good point. Yeah, seeing more creativity when it comes to that will just keep the tournament scene refreshing and alive.
Absolutely. We've already gone through so many different types of like strumming tech and strum speeds. We're not even halfway.
Yeah, there's just so much to the start. This one, I think of any of the charts, if you happen to get to this one, could be something that could more so rely on just purely skill. Just because of the technicality required as opposed to pathing. Of course, you should still learn your paths, but there is a technical element to this that some players may already possess and some may need to work on to get to the level of proficiency with this one.
Exactly. I mean, there was that tempo change there. We're currently in the midst of all strums.
Divisions, anyone?
And those quick hopo bits right there. And now we're recording. Like this goes everywhere. This truly is. Yep. Like this truly is a master of all of the Strum songs that we've presented so far.
Yeah, it's really nice that we, and this is my opinion on this. It's nice to have, I suppose, not necessarily Strum Tiebreaker, but something that's not leaning just purely on Strum endurance and Strum speed. That's testing the Strum skill set, especially for something like this.
Right. And that slight speed up there at the end.
Speed up.
Of that all-Strum bit.
I'll set a 4 there.
Yeah. I guess
Java,
another
yes, I
strumming
believe.
skill
I'm
set-
sorry. Java, yes, I do
Go on.
believe the intro was cut. And then everything else after that was kept, but just sped up differently.
Mm-hmm. Another skill set involving strumming that I want to stress on that hasn't been mentioned yet is when to actually end your strum, because it's showcased a lot here in this chart. Sometimes when you're just doing straight line strumming or you're just doing all strums, most of the time, or just instinctively, if you start on a down strum, you're probably going to want to end on a down strum. But not always. In this song and the, Fall of Troy, a lot of our Strum Picks, there are going to be times where that's not always going to be the case. You need to know exactly what orientation of your strum you need to end on at all times.
Exactly. There are points, as you said, in this song and the Fall of Troy and a few others, where the strum you start on, your dominant strum typically, it could end on the opposite of that. So that is a skill set that could take some time to hone, unless you do down strum literally everything or up strum literally everything, which up to a point can certainly help you. You may not need to worry about that. But if you happen to be somebody that just naturally alt strums consistently, it is something that can take some time and practice to get down.
Absolutely. It's a good skill to always have.
Yep.
And right here, if I may, right here, we actually have like sort of a break, actually. This is like the first break of the chart and a back instrument.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you went through all of that, you get a slight break, and what's going to be great for tournament play, and one reason why I believe this is a great pick for this, the potential anticipation, the hype that could be built up, you have a close match going into something like this, where maybe you're only separated by a few thousand points, a slip up, and here, due to nerves or what have you, maybe somebody activates wrong or something of the sort. It could be anybody's game going into the final stretch of this behemoth of a chart.
And even better with that, this final stretch is stamina oriented.
Yep.
So if you're nervous about slipping up, this is really going to test your endurance, your mental willpower, and just you must like, can you hold it?
Can you rise to the occasion and secure the win?
Truly.
And then we
Again,
get this chord
this is a
strumming once
tiebreaker.
again at the end. Right at the very end.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
it's
go from-
definitely testing just everything all over the Strum Tech spectrum.
Absolutely everything. I gotcha. But again, just like I did before, you will play this song if you play more solo songs than Strum. Just remember that.
And before you do your
Yep.
introduction and going into Thor, I just want to say for the final chart we have here to showcase, this is my personal favorite. This is the one that I was most hyped to see in this set list. I'm so excited for this.
Absolutely. It's all
right.
yours, Chrome.
So, at the start of the stream, we gave a bunch of thanks to some people for helping out with the prize pool. There is another bit of thanks that we do need to give here. Can I get everybody in chat to please thank you, scientist?
Yes. Thank you,
It's
scientist.
Blood on the Radio, 120% speed by Thank You Scientist for the hybrid tiebreaker.
Yes. This.
Yes.
Just go nuts, Chrome.
Absolutely. This was also suggested by Random Days. The last song on the set list, the last song that we put on the set list, we had a different hybrid tiebreaker that had very weird and wonky pacing, and the difficulty spikes were a little too much, and the easy parts were a little too easy. This one keeps a consistent pacing throughout. Brad and Random Days were scrolling through long charts, basically seeing what worked and what didn't. Random Days found this chart, sped it up to 115. Brad said 120 would work, and here it is. I am
we are.
very excited. I think that this is super, super hype. I think all three of our tiebreakers are incredibly hype, but I think this is my favorite personally.
Like, look at that. Yeah. This is my own personal preference, of course. In terms of the genre of music, how the song sounds, this is it for me. But that's just me.
This just it hits it the nail on the head. Random and I had spent quite a bit of time trying to find a final song to nail down here, and we were just in complete agreement on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're being tested on all sorts of different stuff here.
Constantly.
And just wait, if you have not seen this chart before, it cooks. There's some interesting stuff, and actually, in the next chorus, oh boy, if you have not seen this, you're in for a surprise.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to mention, while we have some downtime here, for the power metal heads in chat who are sad by the song selection not containing any power metal, all right, don't worry. We have both the amateur bracket and the playoff set list, both whose set lists have yet to be determined. We have a long ways to go there. You never know what you could see on those set lists, all right?
Absolutely. And earlier I mentioned the idea of buried strums behind hopos. But right there we saw a string of tap notes all in one line, where you could retap, sure, but also you could apply that same buried strum logic to those tap notes and intentionally not strum the first tap note in a line of red notes, for example.
Are you ready, Atomic? For
Never.
the hardest part, arguably, individual, like, single part in this chart.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Alright,
Oh,
chat,
buddy.
here we go.
Yep. Look at that.
just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, but we're not done.
We're not even close to done.
Yeah, notice that the song bar under the scores is not even halfway over.
There's so much to still cook.
Yeah. Man. Also, it's just good that this. I just love listening to this song.
Oh, me too. I've played this so many times.
And good
This
sort of
next one
yeah.
is gonna test how well you can do some quick fretting in between just strums that start the sequence.
Like that.
Rennie, consider that if you have to play this song, your back's already against the wall because you're 3-3 and it's one song to win.
Yep.
It is for both players.
Consider it's
Win
an
and go
inherent
home.
backs against the wall.
Shout out to Gio.
If I can make this comparison, right there in that little section there, we see a gimmick that was shared with Final Boss of changing note types. So, on the fly, can you know what note types you need to play? What to strum, what not to strum? Now
And
we're gonna
that's
strum a solo.
Yeah. And that section that we just played through requires you to be able to do some awkward fretting through a strumming section. It's not necessarily intuitive to be able to know where to fret on what strum. And it does come back up again.
Yeah. And, this could be said about every single tiebreak we have. The song and I guess at the same time. Actually, look at that part. Every single song and every single match that uses a tiebreak, it's not over until it's truly over.
Yep. 100%.
It's really going to be hard to call, you know, I know people like to joke about Meteor Theorem from previous opens. That's going to be really hard to call this time.
Oh, certainly. And we're still not done. There is more to come with this
Yeah.
really awkward section here.
Yeah, look at that.
And it wouldn't be complete without a
Guitar
main
solo.
difficult guitar solo.
So let it speak for itself.
And Random and I were vetting this. We really felt that the spikes in here were still perfectly fine for this stage. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's going to be so critical at the end of a match to
Yeah.
have that down.
It's also under a solo bonus, which, if you're unfamiliar with how many more points you can get off of solo bonuses, they can add up. Your accuracy within every solo marker counts tenfold.
And again, so critical that you're able to just hold here at the very end.
Yep, right up to the end as we approach it here.
Got a little few sneaky strums thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then right here, when we get to the end.
Yep. And that right there is your 2025 open group set list in its entirety.
That's it.
That is it. Missing identical miscounts.
See, this right here
Yeah.
is a great example where we didn't path, but where path can make such a huge difference. His
Yeah.
activations were clearly better than my own. I also had a
Wait.
few SP misses that were kind of unfortunate. But yeah,
And we can check that, Brad. If you scroll down, we can actually check that and verify that. We can check the star power points that we both earned.
yep,
50,000.
Yeah.
So you can have the same miscount as your opponent, but if you path worse, or if you just intuitively activate worse than your opponent, you're just gonna lose.
Yeah, and
you got to know what you're doing.
And with that, Atomic advances to playoffs. I just want to say that since I was a part of the chart selection committee, I cannot compete in this open, but I wish I could. This set list, I know for me, is just a lot of fun to play through, just all throughout. A lot of great stuff in here, and we hope you all will enjoy playing through it, sitting with it. And before we release it to you all,
Yes.
there's a few more things that we need to mention. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and on screen
Okay.
now is the entire group stage set list. All the solos, all the strums, all the hybrids, and all of the tiebreakers. Just as a recap
Absolutely.
here. Should I read them out? Should I just read them all out?
Sure, why not?
For anybody who missed the beginning of the stream and didn't get to see the showcase, go ahead.
All right. So in our solo categories, we've got the Pepsi Man Pepsi Jam CSC edit by Gametal, charted by Miscellany. We've got Fly High, Ride Low by Conrad Simon, charted by Chem Final. And we've got Sulfur Dioxide Form CSC edit at 115% by Penorari, charted by Raspberry. For the strums, we've got Sacred Mother Tongue's Evolve Become at 115% speed, charted by Petty. We've got the Black Dahlia Murders on Stirring Seas. It was a CSC edit, charted by Philanthropy. And we've got the Zenith Passage's Algorithmic Salvation, charted by me, Chromatical. For our hybrids, we have Jimmy Rosenberg's Blue Bossa at 110% by Philanthropy again. We've got the Human Abstracts Echelons to Molotovs, charted by Hell Ashes. We've got the Fall of Troy's I Just Got This Symphony Going at 105% speed, charted by 760 Creations. And we've got Tehan's Final Boss 2, charted by Adventium. For our solo tiebreaker, we've got the Necrophagist Solo Medley, charted by GHX. For the Strum tiebreaker, we've got Between the Buried and Me's Fossil Genera, which is a CSC edit made by 3UP, charted by Chezzy. And for our hybrid tiebreaker, as we just saw, it is Thank You Scientists' Blood on the Radio at 120%, charted by iZen Penguin.
Really amazing stuff. And actually, I want to point out something that Java has just... There are 12 different charters represented here in this set list.
Out of 13
There's only
songs.
one repeat.
I don't think it can be overstated enough how much work Random in particular did vetting things initially for us to play test and just look over and stuff. So I want to, if you guys can give hearts out to RandomDays for really taking the lead on getting a lot of this culminated. Seriously, I know Random stayed up until 3, 4, 5 a.m. some days.
Multiple nights
to curate a lot of this. So seriously, if I had a hat, it'd be off to you, Random. Now, with that said, and of course, there will be additional thank yous toward the end. But before we get to our closing statements, we do have a few other things we need to mention. Atomic, if you go over something that has a little bit of an intrigue, something I'm sure people are interested to hear about.
Yeah, of course. So with every open tournament, with any tournament in general, especially one of this caliber, because we already have a ton of qualifier submissions, so thank you all, first of all. Because of that, because of how many players we're going to have, there's always going to be a good need and an interest for referees. Now, as members of staff, we already can ref a lot of matches. We can be referee for any match in particular, but we always love it when the people who participate also want to be referees. We love it when they can help out. They love to meet new people through reffing, through participating, any way, shape, or form. So in the coming days, and honestly, in an announcement that's live after this stream, I'm going to be looking for reactions to a certain post that will be in the Discord channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use reactions on that post to garner interest for who wants to ref, who would be willing to help ref matches, keep group stage going at a steady rate, so forth. So if you have any interest in learning how to, please react to a message that will go live on the Discord after the stream is done. And I will be hosting a referee orientation on this coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That orientation will go into detail on how to, the logic behind tiebreakers, the logic pick ban. Any questions you have can be answered there with me in a voice call with you. So,
I will also be attending that. You can also message me Chromatical about anything. And then again, that orientation is going to be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST, which is 4 p.m. EST, for anybody who is interested in refereeing.
absolutely. And to go with that, Brad.
Yeah, so just one little thing with the reffing orientation. And the announcement that will be made, it will be set to your time. So whatever time 7 p.m.
Yes.
EST is for you, it'll show that time frame. So just keep on a lookout. Now, for casters, it's going to be slightly different. So due to us being down to one less stream per week and more potential casters than we've ever had, the role for caster on official Custom Song Central Championship Series streams, so 2025 Open in particular, will be more invitation based. So what that means is we are going to have a Google form that you will fill out, that you will submit to us for us to garner interest that shows your interest in wanting to be a caster. So if we feel that you would be great initially for us to bring on board, we will reach out to you and there'll be more information to come with that. But if you aren't interested in being a caster, please be sure to fill up the form that will be linked in the announcement after the stream has concluded. So with that said, something I do want to point out, and it will be on the forum, is for anybody who is looking to cast, what you saw with this stream was a little bit different. You probably noticed myself and Atomic didn't talk quite as much as what we would kind of expect for our casters during an actual traditional match. You typically will have two sorts of casters. You will have your lead caster, someone who's kind of presenting information, doing your play-by-play sort of commentary, and then you'll have your co-host, who typically is doing color commentary. So depending, and you'll see in the form, depending on which one you feel strongest in, that's the box that you would want to check, or the radio button that you want to select. If you feel you're better as a lead, select that. If you feel you're better as someone who can follow a lead and casting, select that. And if you think you have both flavors, then you can select that as well. But all the information will be included in the form. I just wanted to point that information, that's two different categories that we're looking to fill for casting.
Absolutely.
With that said, are there any questions that you have for us before we break? We'll let this sit for a couple minutes. We are happy to answer anything. If you have any questions later on, feel free to reach out to staff. We will certainly answer them. If it is something very, very important, you can reach out personally to any staff member, but we prefer, unless it's something very important, that you address the proper channels within the Discord server. So I'm going to let it sit here for a few minutes. Atomic Chrome, if you have anything that you'd like to say while we sit and wait for any additional questions, now would be a good time.
I would like to say something.
Go, sure.
So I appreciate all of the love that you guys gave me for all the work that I put in. I would really just like to give my own personal thanks to not only everybody on the current song selection committee for letting me have so much control over the set list, because I mean sometimes that can get out of hand and it not work well, but you guys did everything to make sure all of the songs were well balanced, they were good sounding, all of the different possible, even some of the most nitpicky possible opinions that came out. I remember one of the opinions of the solo tiebreak was like, could it be too on brand for a solo tiebreak, right? Like just things like that. I would also like to give special thanks to anybody who has ever contributed to the super huge broad list spreadsheet. Without that, some of these picks would not have happened. I would like to especially name drop Evolve Become. That pick was never on my radar at all because it's a Petty chart. Why would Petty make a Strum Pick? So, yeah, I'd really just like to make sure that everyone else gets just as much credit as me, because without those people, I wouldn't have nearly the confidence in my decisions that what I'm doing is right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We are certainly was going to wait until after the question segment to give a more general thanks to everybody. I just wanted to highlight the work that you had put in. But you're absolutely right. There's a lot of credit to spread around. A lot of effort was put in from multiple different areas. We did get a question from Java. It is going to start immediately. The minute, well, give us a few minutes, because we have to formulate the groups themselves. But once the groups are revealed, as soon as that stream has concluded, yes, group stage will begin at that point.
As a reminder, to go off of that, there will be a live stream that we will host for the seeding review, or the group review, if you will. Once that live stream ends, group stage is on. So you'll know right when it begins.
And there'll be more information and dates to come for anything else from that point onward, but just know that qualifier ends, and we want to really express this, Saturday, March 15th at 1 p.m. EST. So if you need a time converter to just look at that just to make sure, but not a second after. If we see a submission at 1 p.m. and 1 second, you will not qualify. So please make sure, and if you have a score to post for the qualifier, if you post it in the score posting area of the Discord, that's great. Make sure to actually submit a response to the form to qualify.
Yes.
And before we get into the final part here, let me see if there is.
I want to address something real quick.
Okay.
There was a question from Arbiter. As far as I understood, multiple skill levels will be playing the same playlist for this. Is there a worry about the difficulty being too high for beginners and too low for pros? We took a look at previous open group set lists, specifically Open 1 and Open 2, when there was actually an Elite League, and we think that this set list is pretty well tuned for all sorts of skill levels. I think that some of the lower level players will still really enjoy the set list, learning things, and I think that the higher level players will still have things that they can work on.
Absolutely. There's stuff for all levels of players to work on. For beginners, you can work on your consistency, you can work for the pros, maybe you'll try to go for optimal scores. Maybe you'll try to go for something a little bit advanced at a certain solo set. There's something for everyone.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to point out that there will be more information on amateur bracket for those who will not qualify for playoffs. So if you are someone who does feel that this set list is just a bit too much for you, but you still want to compete in tournament style play, if you don't happen to make playoffs, just be on the lookout for amateur. That set list is generally, and this is just a generalization, but generally the songs are a little bit easier than what you see in the group stage. So just wanted to keep that in mind. If just don't give up on it completely. Try to lean into the songs, see where you're sitting personally, and if you still want to compete and see more action, be out on the lookout for that. I think you said Geo. Geo has an interesting question. There is no cap, there is no limit. We are taking all the interest we can possibly get for both roles. So if you are interested at all, please either react to the reaction for the ref part of the announcement or fill out a form for the caster interest.
Yes. Yep. We are looking for as many casters and refs off the get-go. And Tali in chat makes a really good point. We mentioned amateur bracket for those that don't advance to playoff. In order to qualify for amateur, you must participate in the groups stage. You cannot sit out of group stage and then play an amateur.
To lean into that a little bit, if you have to drop out of group stage for any reason other than something that would be deemed by staff as appropriate, you also would not qualify for amateur. So if you simply drop out of groups just because you're not feeling it, or you know, you want to wait for something that is quote unquote easier, you must play through groups to qualify for amateur. So again, unless it's a very, very, very good reason as deemed by staff, you got to go through that avenue to qualify for amateur.
Let's see here. Ducky, I see your message. Do you need to do the orientation? It is highly encouraged, but I will say I'll have something written any refs brought on board that will explain the entire reffing as it is for this open.
I will say
highly encouraged.
I will say we did make a big change to the format that the refs need to understand and be aware of. And so I would very highly recommend trying to make that if you can. But yeah, we will have that explanation go out to people even if they can't make it, I think is the plan.
Actually,
Yes.
that is an interesting question. That, again, would have to be something that staff would have to go over. Again, it's something we'd have to discuss as an appropriate reason. So if there is any and all reasons that people drop out, we certainly gauge those. And if you still express interest in amateur, again, it's something we'd have to discuss privately.
It's better to take things like that case by case.
I was just about to say that. It's not end all be all if you have to drop out. We will... What caused a person to drop out, why they chose to drop out, and we will make a decision from there.
Oh, great question, Arbiter. Yes, we will have, after the Open concludes, our Elite League. So we went ahead and reached out to players, and this was revealed in our last stream for the qualifier reveal. There are a set number of players who are already in Elite League, and 8 players from this Open will be moving into that. So they will be playing in a much harder set list, much more difficult grouping of players where some insanity ensues. So yes, there is a tournament format geared for those specific players.
And to reiterate on that, for Elite League, Brad mentioned 8 players from the Open will move into. It will be the top 8 players from playoffs.
And
specifically
before it happens to get lost in the weeds, Rakshi, I'm going to say this as a generalization. Again, it's something we'll have to discuss as staff. But if you have something going on that prevents you on a consistent basis from completing matches, you may want to, on your own accord, drop out. But that could very well be something that would prevent you from competing in a tournament like this. So that's something you'd have to weigh on your own. But if it becomes something to where you literally just can't finish matches on a consistent basis, it's kind of outside of our control as to allowing, I guess, those results to carry on to other tournaments that we organize. Again, we'd have to continue, we'd have to discuss it. But again, if it's an ongoing issue that is just outside of anybody's control, it's kind of hard for us to look at that rate now and weigh that you'd be allowed to compete in a different part of the tournament. But I would say, just as a general case, if you are experiencing something that prevents you from playing consistently, you may want to consider not participating. I'll just word it that way.
That's fair. Okay, any more questions? None that I see of right now. I do want to reiterate a very important point. If you are was Ocean... Yes, it was. But
Yes.
Yep, Invitational 4 at 125%. I do want to make a point, though, to anyone who has done with the has played the qual, has not submitted a score yet. You're still fine. I know we're showing off the open, like the group set list right now. You still have an entire week to still submit a score. We're only halfway through the qual. So, if you liked what you saw from this group set list here, and you really participate, and this put you over the edge, and now's the time. You have one more week. You have one more week to do so.
All right. I think with that said, not seeing any other questions, I think at this point, if you do have any other questions, please direct them to the appropriate places within Discord server. So we want to, for those that are on broadcast right now, cast, broadcast, anybody who happens to be in the VC currently, we thank all of you. Anybody who has put in any sort of work at all into helping this run, I want to throw a special shout out to the man, the organization and documentation that has gone on, and him taking lead to help ensure the running of this tournament is going very smooth and efficient. It's been incredible, so I personally want to thank the man for that. And just anybody who has really contributed to everything so far, we genuinely thank you.
Absolutely. I second that for Deman. Deman has been doing such a good amount of leadership behind, good amount of like pushing, keeping schedules, anything you can imagine to keep this tournament running smoothly. Deman's doing it.
And a special shout out to Chromatical for keeping it together for this broadcast.
Yippee! I love tech issues.
The graphics, the scene work, everything that you're seeing has been spearheaded by Chromatical. It's been absolutely incredible. We're loving what we're seeing, so thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
you fix one issue and then another issue arises. It's a never-ending battle, but
always.
I'm very happy with how the scenes turned out. Something that we didn't get to see today, that these OBS scenes are capable of, is that during matches, the broadcaster can highlight either of the two highways. They can blow it up and show off what players are doing, which I think is going to add a ton of entertainment and production value to the stream. And so I'm very excited to actually finally see that get used in matches, in open matches. We did see it with the Invitational, but I'm very excited to see it with open matches. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. And to everyone in chat, it could be you who's highlighted on that OBS scene.
This is true. Join the open.
Yeah.
You could be highlighted right here on stream.
Yeah. If you want to show off what you got, if you want to show off your talent, this is where to be.
All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We cannot wait to see the groups all come together and those matches to start. Remember, you have a week from now, a week and a few hours short, to get in your submissions, and we will see you next week, Saturday, at a little past 1 p.m. EST, because we need a few minutes to gather up and actually get the groups together. But we will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and get to work on the stage set list.
Take it easy.